Hello everyone, welcome back to a very special video. I'm DTM, and with the July 2026 SDR season done, we have, of course, the Rank 1 data, and I'm super excited to analyze this in this meta report. It was a very interesting season, to say the least, and I'm excited to share it with all of y'all. And yeah, hopefully you all enjoy it. If you do, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz to help support the channel. Only takes 5 seconds to subscribe, but it truly does help out the channel a lot, and I really do appreciate all the constant support. So yeah, I guess a good segue would be to talk about the captain skills, because Might of Myriads overwhelmingly was the skill of choice. You might have thought Erosion would be, but the thing about SDR is that just the fact that Erosion is there in the captain skill rotation means that most people won't run saves. And if you don't run into any save units, then Erosion is kind of useless, right? And so yeah, Might of Myriads is then the skill to use, especially when we're in a meta like this SDR, where it's really about one unit carry type teams, right? Like we have one unit carry teams where you have one unit that is the primary carry responsible for taking on the enemy team effectively by themselves, and then you have the 4 support units to support that main carry. And as you'll see, those sort of teams really dominated this SD season. And so yeah, Might of Myriads is the perfect skill for that. It gives you a lot of the stats, which complements the stat stacking meta we've been in, and of course gives them DC and close counter. And so yeah, Might of Myriads just makes sense. And then for the bonus units, we have Emblem Roy as basically the only one being used, which makes sense because it's the only one worth using. Camilla is super old. Emblem Sigurd has always sucked, don't at me. And so yeah, Roy was the go-to if you needed that bonus life. Only 28% because for most type of teams, you actually don't want to slot in Roy. Roy is not exactly the greatest unit currently, but obviously sometimes you have to. So yeah, that's why he is here at 28%. So yeah, we can go into the top 10 now. And as you can see, the top 10 is pretty different from what happened 2 months ago. What's not different though is Alphador. Alphador is at number 1 once again. I feel like he's been number 1 every time I've done this, but honestly, what can I say? Sharing bonuses in general is really good. We have a lot of powerful bonuses like True Charge, Extra Movement, Canto, etc. This season, as I mentioned, was really about the 1 unit carry teams. And so Alphador actually gains a lot of value because Alphador generally can only pass on the bonus to 1 other unit. Well, if we're in the 1 unit carry team, that makes it easy. You just pass bonuses to that 1 unit, and then boom, you've insanely buffed them, give all the bonus to them, and you're good to go. So yeah, makes sense why Alphador would be used very heavily in this 1 unit carry meta. And also, due to the format of SDR, you just field 1 team, you face the 1 team from the enemy. Alphador is actually a very effective anti-Heimdallr unit, right? Let's say you slot in Heimdallr, and then you face a team that has Alphador that doesn't have a Heimdallr. What you've just done is that because you slotted in Heimdallr, the enemy also gets snared because they have Alphador without the enemy needing to slot in Heimdallr themselves. Heimdallr herself is just a snare bot. She doesn't do anything else besides providing snare. So really, what you've done by adding in Heimdallr to your team is given the enemy snare too, and now you have to face the enemy 4v5, right? And so yeah, basically this go-to strategy is to just not run Heimdallr and run Alphador instead. If you don't face Heimdallr, great, everything's cool. If you do face Heimdallr, then your enemy just granted you snare and you have a unit advantage. And so yeah, this really goes back to how Alphador like levels the playing field. If the enemy fields bonuses that you don't have, you now get them too without having to slot in specific units for that. So you can slot in better units. And so yeah, it is a bit of a preventative measure against things like snare and gallop, which is really interesting. So yeah, Alphador, number 1, all the above, he's still going strong. At number 2, we have Brave Harmonic Micaiah. Brave Harmonic Micaiah makes her debut in SDR in a stunning fashion and is primarily used in SOTHE teams that we'll talk about later. She has actually quite a bit of synergy with SOTHE teams due to her button being able to dance SOTHE. She's also a very effective secondary nuke due to her having warping and built-in pass. I was talking about how we were in the 1 unit carry meta. Micaiah, because of her warping, doesn't have to be next to that 1 unit in order to have the range necessary to clean up and stuff, right? Like she could just sit more back in the back line thanks to her warping and still have the range to have that secondary firepower. And so, yeah, she does that really, really well. She's also has some really, really good support with like the 2 penalty cleansing, the sabotage, and the feud. She is the feud support this season. Veronica got her job stolen by Micaiah. Mainly, I would say because Micaiah can actually like warp in, can nuke stuff, and yeah, is generally a lot more effective than Veronica. She can also run Micaiah Ring outside of the SOTHE pasta, which works really, really well with her. Since she doesn't actually mind getting gravitied, right? She has the warping, so gravity is just like a non-issue to her. So that way she can both have the start of turn cleansing that she has in her weapon and then the mid-turn cleansing for the Micaiah Ring. And because the season is very 1 unit carry, the single target cleanse of Micaiah Ring is perfectly fine for these sort of teams. So yeah, Micaiah just becomes like the second best support option for the season, which makes sense because she's here at number 2. So yeah, at number 3, we have the unit that has taken over SDR. That's right, it's Spring SOTHE of all units. He has been so slept on, but honestly, even before this SDR, he was getting quite a bit of usage. Like, it was not too crazy, but he had some dedicated followers. And yeah, this season really exposed his true power. He is the true protagonist of this SDR season. SOTHE carry teams were the primary teams to run and look out for. And yeah, he is perfectly suited in this SDR meta of rising tankiness and omni carries. He is incredibly tanky and a really big stat ball due to True Bane. The Bane effect is whatever, it's everything else, right? We have 40% unpierceable DR, we have offensive tempo, potent follow-up, but what really makes the special good is the Omni Feud. He has Omni Feud as a tank, which means that he cuts off all offensive support like Favor that, you know, gives nukes true damage, while allowing himself to keep the defensive support like Lucina Ring. With the rise in tankiness, many nukes really need true damage support or other support like from Favor to really be able to take out units. So SOTHE being able to deny that is just a huge boon to his survivability and tankiness. There are very few tanks with Omni Feud availability. I think the only other relevant ones are like beasts with Dark Force, I believe. Because of that, you don't have to run units like Veronica, for instance, or Micaiah. And even if you ran like Veronica or Micaiah, there is the possibility that the enemy can cleanse the feud penalty. And so just SOTHE having that built in innately is really, really huge in terms of consistency. Outside of that, he also has some really, really good, great talent stacking. I think it's like attack speed +2 per turn, and then +4 after the special triggers for units and allies, which makes him even more tanky and more of a stat ball. And of course, speaking of stat balls, we also have the new skills like Rise Above 4 and Instruct 4 that just keeps increasing the stats. And the newest skill, AS Taker Burst, that just boosts SOTHE even more and really ramps up that great talent stacking. And so yeah, it's really the confluence of all these skills and the meta shift that has made SOTHE like just so powerful. And yeah, while SOTHE is primarily known for being super tanky, he's also effective nuke and can easily reach the high enough defenses with that stat stacking to get past Iron Fighters. So yeah, SOTHE can do it all. His nuking is not like the greatest, but it's effective enough. And so yeah, that is why SOTHE is here at number 3. He is the main 1 unit carry of the season. And yeah, I thought I'd never see the day, but it's really, really cool to see. All right, at number 4, we have Niffle. And Niffle has already been on the rise. If you've seen my SDS meta reports, I've talked about her quite a bit in the team trends section. But yeah, she has been on this rise and continues to rise as a support unit. She features prominently not just on SOTHE teams, but on all teams, mainly because of Frozen, right? Frozen is one of the most debilitating debuffs that can be inflicted. It cripples a lot of nukes by making them unable to double. It also works offensively by making it easier to double the tanks that have the Frozen inflicted on them. And so yeah, it's just a really good debuff to inflict on the enemy to cripple them. And in this rise of tanks and the super carry, 1-unit carry meta, Frozen is perfect to make it even more difficult to kill the carries like SOTHE, like Byleth, etc., while also increasing their attack power. She also provides the ice. Ice is always really, really strong at like space control and denial, and being able to protect that carry when you like smite the carry in. And her providing Frozen and Ice consolidates that role into one unit. So you don't even need Ice Lock or a healer to have that Ice support, while also having like a different unit for Frozen support. You could just have that in one. And yeah, that is why Niffle here is at number 4. Very, very strong. Frozen is OP. And yeah, not as much to say about that. At number 5, we have honestly a big surprise, but in hindsight, not really. We have Summer Sharena. I say big surprise since, like, for SD, normally you don't want to Gale Force, right? Because Gale Forcing makes you unable to retreat out of the enemy range with Canto, which leaves like your unit, if you go into attack and can't Canto out, you are risking them dying and having that trade. But with the super carry meta, the 1-unit carry meta, the 1 unit doesn't actually want to retreat, right? Like, the tankiness has risen to a point where the 1 unit, the super carry, can reliably survive within the enemy range. Therefore, with just 1 unit to carry, making sure that 1 unit can attack more than once becomes even more important than being able to retreat. You want that carry to have as many actions as possible to continue the steamroll and not be limited to just 1 combat per turn, or having to use the other support units as secondary nukes. And therefore, Summer Sharena's Gale Force support is just absolutely perfect for the season, right? She can provide extra actions to that 1 unit carry to allow them to continue the steamroll. And so yeah, she just slots in perfectly in this meta. In addition, she also has a great talent support, which, you know, also works really, really well in boosting the stats for the 1 unit. And so yeah, Summer Sharena actually really, really good to slot in for to be like a support unit for that 1 carry. So yeah, that is why she is here at number 5. I never thought I'd see Gale Force support rise up in Summer's duels, but here we are. At number 6, we have Emblem Roy. This one is pretty straightforward. He is the bonus unit for this SDR, so he is a bit inflated in usage due to that. But, you know, is working perfectly fine in the super carry meta. Reflex is good support to boost the carry's damage. And if the 1 unit carry somehow dies, Roy can step in as the carry if needed. It won't work as good because his killing power is really iffy, but, you know, at least you're not like left hanging or anything, you know? Yeah, he's a bit fraudulent, so not exactly the best. Honestly, gets taken down a lot more often than you would expect. You really don't want him to get outsped, and that is really difficult when Frozen is being thrown out everywhere, which, you know, is really problematic. And also we have, you know, have stat stacking with great talent and whatnot. But again, like, he is the bonus, so you can slot him in and you can make it work. So yeah, that's why he's here at number 6. At number 7, we have Thor, still making the top 10 after all this time. You'd love to see it. Bonus removal is still OP. You do have the risk of running into Tiki, which is why she isn't higher. But Tiki, where is Tiki? Tiki's somewhere here. Yeah, there she is. You know, 11% chance of running into her, which, you know, is not insignificant, but yeah, it is low enough that, you know, you can risk it. And, you know, a lot of people are willing to risk it. a lot of the tanks and the super carries have a lot of bonuses on them due to Alphador, right? And so that makes it that much harder to kill those tanks. So oftentimes Thor is necessary to strip those bonuses away so you can actually be able to attempt to kill these super carries. And yeah, if you ever run into like the rare snare or whatnot, or the rare gallop, you can strip those as well. But honestly, it's mainly used this season to strip the super carries of their bonuses, like from SOTHE or from Byleth, and make them a lot easier to deal with. So yeah, that's why she is there at number 7. At number 8, speaking of Byleth, we have Fallen Male Byleth here, the secondary go-to for the super carry this season. He is generally used if you don't have a built-in SOTHE, or like a built-up SOTHE, sorry. Which, you know, not everyone has built-up SOTHE. He is really expensive, requiring like Rise Above, AS Taker Burst, and Instruct, right? So I can see like a lot of people using Fallen Male Byleth as like a fallback. And yeah, like SOTHE, Byleth can be very, very tanky thanks to Rise Above, Roy Ring, Instruct, the whole works. He does have the advantage versus SOTHE of having a 3-range style. SOTHE in comparison has very, very limited range. One of the big issues with SOTHE teams is that limited range. So Byleth having the 3-range style, being actually able to have huge threat range to threaten the enemy offensively, you know, is something on Byleth's favor. He can also be self-sufficient-ish with the Gale Force, since he does inflict shared spoils. So Sharena or another Gale Force supporter isn't as necessary. That being said, shared spoil isn't as consistent since it's easily cleansed. And so, yeah, it's not best to rely on that, honestly. The one big downside and why he isn't used as much as SOTHE is that he doesn't have Omni Field at all, right? So it's a lot easier for favor stacking nukes to be able to kill him and stuff like that. So he really needs feud support if you really want him to work effectively. And yeah, another big reason also is that he doesn't get danced by Micaiah Button, and Micaiah is the feud supporter of this season. So yeah, that's kind of a big oof when it comes to the synergy there. But yeah, still though, he is still a very effective option for that super carry, just not as good as the other one. So yeah, that's why he is here at number 8. At number 9, we have Air. Air is the best cleanser currently. Penalties are everywhere, like Frozen. Niffle is very common, so being able to cleanse that is really, really good. Cleansing Frozen uncripples the team to unlock their nuking or their tankiness. It is a bit redundant with Micaiah Ring, though. Because we are in that 1-unit carry meta, the 1-unit cleansing of Micaiah Ring is really all you need. And so Air being able to cleanse every unit around her isn't as useful, which is why you don't really see her higher, right? Like most people will just put Micaiah Ring on 1 unit and call it a day. Still though, the cleansing is still good, can be a cleanup nuke too, which is why she's here at number 9. And then last is Sakura. Legendary Sakura, just barely making the top 10. What has happened? Has she fallen off? Well, simply put, Salvage's effect of allowing units to retreat all the way back is just not that important this season. I mentioned this constantly, but we are in the 1-unit carry meta, and those 1 unit want to remain in the threat range to be able to continue this team role. They want to remain there, be like either Gale Force or like danced or whatnot, and just continue going ham. So them being able to reliably survive in the enemy threat range means that there's no need to have them come all the way back, which means Sakura's salvage is just not as valuable. Still though, she is still pretty useful with Kanto from salvage. And you know, being a healer, you get Guardian and Ice Lock, which are super powerful effects. You can have those be dancing healer skills if you give her Byleth Ring. So, you know, she still has good support, but it's definitely not as necessary or prominent as it once was. So yeah, kind of crazy how this rise in tankiness has led units like Sakura, once thought to be overwhelmingly dominant, to just barely make the top 10. But that's why I said about the season. It's interesting. It's really, really interesting. But yeah, those are the top 10s. Very interesting, changes, I would say. Compared to like the last season, which was like 2 months ago, we have some very interesting rise. Like obviously we have Brave Harmonic Micaiah. She did not exist 2 months ago, last SDR, and now she's here at number 2 at 54%. So, really big impact on the first occasion. We also have SOTHE, who had a really big rise. He literally had 1 user last SDR season, and now he is here at number 3 with 48%. So very, very huge dramatic jump there. Niffle is another one of those big risers, literally 4 users last SDR season, and now here at 44% and at number 4. And yeah, Sharena, again, didn't exist 2 months ago, and now is here at 31% and number 5. Basically, anyone in this main pasta got a huge boost besides Alphador, who obviously is like the constant, I guess. And with these rises, we also have the falls. So one of the biggest falls, honestly, is Heimdallr. Last season, Heimdallr was at 29% usage at number 3, which would be number 3 is where SOTHE is currently. She has fallen all the way down to number 18 at a mere 5%, just 5 users in total. That is an insane drop off. And I think the reason for that is what I mentioned when talking about Alphador, right? If you slot in Heimdallr and face an Alphador team, you just given your enemy Snare and you're facing the enemy 4v5 because Heimdallr is useless outside of Snare. And so the strategy is to just not use Heimdallr and just run Alphador instead. So yeah, that's why she has this big drop off. Also, when you have 1 unit carries, Snare is less impactful because the 1 unit can most likely survive things. And so yeah, just the rise in tankiness means that the protection from Snare is just less valuable. The other fall is Legendary Leon. I don't know if y'all remember, but Legendary Leon was at number 7, was a primary pasta component, or from one of the 3 pastas back then, and at 22%. Well, now, Legendary Leon is in this list of 0 users. That is the insane fall off that Legendary Leon has. It's kind of hilarious how he was a staple for a team last season, and now no one uses him. Kind of crazy, honestly. Other drop-offs are Valley. Valley last year, the New Year's variant, was at 24% at number 6. Now she has a total of 4 users. Again, with the rise in tankiness, Miracle is not as needed if the units can just survive themselves. Mainly, the 1 unit carry is having Roy Ring, so you already have Miracle, so Valley Miracle support is kind of redundant. So yeah, that's why we see this big drop-off there. Still some users though. And then yeah, Tiki is the other big drop-off. Last season, Tiki was at number 2 at 31% to now at just 11%. Number 11. Still respectable, but yeah. Unfortunately, because it is erosion season, running Tiki as a save is really, really risky. So really, Tiki's just here for basically the Thor denial. But Thor isn't used often enough to really use a team slot just for Tiki. Because again, we have erosion, Tiki can't reliably even sacrifice herself for the main carry. And in most cases, the main carry can tank it themselves regardless. So yeah, the roles that Tiki had this season was very, very diminished, which is why you see that drop off. But yeah, those are the rise and falls. Honestly, really, really interesting meta shifts, right? SOTHE rising from 1 user to almost half of the users. Heimdallr having this crazy fall off. Never thought I'd see the day. But yeah, very, very interesting indeed. Now, when it comes to the teams, really, there's just one team to talk about, and that is the SOTHE pasta. A total of 23 just use this same pasta, and that's not even counting variations like one replacing Summer Sharena with Entwined Sharena, one replacing Sharena with Byleth for a pseudo Gale Force support. But yeah, really the main team of this season was the SOTHE pasta. we have Soth here as the primary carry. The build is generally Arcane Slicer, True Bane, Roy Ring, Rise Above, AS Taker Burst, Instruct, Hardy Bearing, and Lull Echo. I talked about some of those skills when I was talking about Soth, but that's the full build. And yeah, I already discussed Soth to death when talking about him. He's an incredibly tanky unit. Very few units can even on occasion take out Soth. And so yeah, Soth is the best carry. Omnifeud goes hard, honestly. It's kind of crazy. Sharena's here, again, to provide the extra action to Soth. I talked about this when I was talking about Sharena, but since the team is relying on Soth to survive as an Omni tank and be that one unit carry, you want Gale Force on Soth so Soth can take out multiple units per turn. Sharena also has great talent support to help ramp up Soth's stat stacking. And Sharena can even run Byleth Ring to act as a dancer as well in this type of team to allow Soth to continue the steamroll. So yeah, Sharena, makes sense. Alphador's here to transfer bonuses onto Soth, and also to repo and smite him into position. Basic things Alphador does, so no surprises there. He generally runs Lucina Ring in order to make Soth even more tankable, more tanky with that unpierceable DR. Niffle is here for the frozen support and the ice. Ideally, when you smite in Soth with Niffle, she smites Soth in a way that the ice can clear the enemy's ice so that Soth can go in to attack unimpeded. Obviously, in a real battle, it's a lot more complicated than that. It's not entirely reliable, but that is the ideal scenario. So yeah. And she also generally runs a Micaiah Ring so that when she does smite Soth in, she cleanses Soth of all the penalties. So, that's just synergy right there. The one surprising unit on this team initially would be Micaiah. There is the 2 penalty cleansing and I guess the sabotage support, but you would think that because Soth already has feud, Micaiah's feud support, which is what she is known for as a feud support, wouldn't be useful for Soth, and there would be like this huge overlap. But it turns out that Soth and Micaiah are like really good together. Micaiah has a harmonic skill that dances up Soth from a distance, and that just allows Soth to continue the steamroll. We talked about this for Sharena, right? You want to give Soth as many actions as possible. Micaiah is just the perfect unit to do that. And, her support besides feud is also useful, right? Like sabotage helps with the stat stacking and stuff like that. Can act as a secondary nuke. She generally runs Corn Ring for the ice, just to protect the rest of the support units, and also help deny space. But really, she's just run for the button. And so, yeah, Soth is Mickey's boy. Being able to get danced by Micaiah. Honestly, it turns out that these two are a really synergistic pairing, this SDR. So yeah, that is the primary team. And as I mentioned, there are variations like using Entwine Sharena because you don't have Summer Sharena, or using Byleth because you don't have Summer Sharena. There are Byleth carry teams too, right? Like we see this Byleth carry. We had some Lin teams. If you look, we had some Balder teams like here. We have some Lin teams right here. So it wasn't all 100% Soth teams, right? But Soth was by far the most consistently reliable team and by far the option that most people took. So yeah, very, very interesting, honestly. I haven't seen a single team have that much dominance before. And it's from Spring Soth, of all people. Really interesting. You never know what to expect from the meta, I guess. We can talk briefly about the regional trends. The CN community is obviously really high on Niffle and Sharena. They are the primary pasta users, so it makes sense that they would use Niffle and Sharena, generally used with those pastas more often than the other regions. Meanwhile, they are very lower on Roy and Air, as you can see. For JP, they are not big fans of Byleth. I'm not entirely sure why, because Byleth is generally the go-to second option. I guess they prefer potentially Lin teams or even Balder or whatnot, but yeah, not a big fan of Byleth, which is interesting. They are still fans of Sakura, of course, I guess. Still really, really like Salvage and that play style, I would assume. And then for EN, EN are the region that are not as high on the SOTHE pasta, so we don't have as many SOTHE users or as Niffle users, and otherwise really like Roy and Air. I think the EN teams are more likely to include the bonus units just for that level of score protection, and so yeah, that's why you see Emblem Roy being used more. But yeah, that is the meta analysis for this SDR for July 2026. Again, very, very interesting meta shifts with like new units and old units that have just risen up hugely. Of course, to end it off, we have the top 3 least meta, aka most free thinker teams this season. For those of you who don't know, with this data, we can calculate how quote unquote meta each player's team was by basically just like adding the usage percentage of all the units on their teams. And because the pasta was used so often, we get a bunch of 100% here. But don't worry, there were people with more unique teams. And at number 3, we have Shijima. So Shijima is back at it once again with the Navarre carry. So they have Navarre, Minerva, Sakura, Ingrid, and Tiki. This is all legit. I've seen the replays. And yeah, we talked about the main super carry type teams. Well, Navarre is kind of a cope version of a super carry, but honestly, you can make it work. We have the skills to be able to do it with Rise Above, Roy Ring, etc. So with the proper support, like from Frozen, Reflex, and whatnot, you can make it work. I assume he has Tiki here because like Navarre definitely want those bonuses to make up for not being as optimal as SOTHE. And so getting Thor button would be devastating. And so, yeah. And then, yeah, the Reflex to, boost the damage, the Frozen to debilitate the team. Makes sense. And yeah, congratulations to Shijima for being the number 3 least meta, aka most free thinker player of the season. At number 2, we have 8-bit owners, one of the more active participants in the competitive FEH community. 8-bit owners is here with the double Alm team. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, 8-bit owners is like a huge Alm and Shadows of Valencia fan. And so yeah, having double Alm here makes sense. Alm, honestly, this Brave Harmonic Alm is actually a really good nuke. He actually can take out the tanky units like Byleth, like Soak. Mass Marth here is to provide the debuffs and also the favorite support. Doesn't really help out against SOTHE, but the other stuff that she provides is good. Alm is here for that secondary nuking capability. Airs for the cleansing. And then Alfred, it actually got a huge buff with Iron Fighter. He can withstand a lot of the nukes with that Iron Fighter. And even though it is erosion season, so there is a risk you'll run into erosion team, it is not used often enough that, it is possible to take that risk, right? And so, yeah. 8-bit owners here showing their Shadows of Valencia and Alm love with the double Alm team. You love to see it. And yeah, congrats on being the number 2 least meta, aka most free thinker player this season. And then at number 1, we have the one and only Evan KPB. And they are a mainstay in the least meta, aka most free thinker rankings. And for those of you who don't know, Evan is a huge Snake fan, huge Needhogger fan. So of course when Jormungandr arrived, he was going to use that. And so yeah, we have Jormungandr supported by Legion to get rid of the ice, Ninian to provide the 2-range style and whatnot. Vanitas is actually a very effective tank with Iron Fighter, actually. She has some really good defenses. And then we have Tibarn with the Frozen support and as that like secondary nuke that can now have 2-range style thanks to Ninian. And so yeah, very, very cool team. Always love to see the Snake representation. And yeah, congrats to Evan for being the #1 least meta, aka most free thinker player of this season. But yeah, that should be it for the meta report. Hopefully you all enjoyed this. The meta has definitely taken some twists and turns for this season compared to 2 months ago. But honestly, that's what makes doing these sort of meta reports so fun. You get to see those changes, and hopefully you had a lot of fun as well, listening in, seeing what the meta is like and how it changed. And yeah, if you did enjoy, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz to help support the channel. Only takes 5 seconds to subscribe, but it truly does help out this channel a lot, and I really do appreciate all the constant support. And yeah, let me know down in the comments what you used for SDR, if you did play, and if you did not, what units were most surprising to you in terms of their usage. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and see you all next time. Bye, everyone.